Hello, Vegas baby fans. I'm back. I hope you all enjoyed my show from yesterday. I saw I had a lot of views. Hey, what can you do? So today I thought, because everybody's stuck at home, of course we have Amazon, we have Prime and Amazon and Netflix, but it's always nice to remind people of good movies that you might not remember. And so I'm just going to give you some ideas, stuff that I liked, Bill liked, stuff that I had copies of. So I thought we'd do that. How's that sound? So, just to give you some ideas, you might go, hey, because last week I was on TMC. There was a day where there was westerns, and How the West was on, which is a great movie, long but it's really great. And then there was another Jimmy Stewart, the Winchester 73, um, and that was really good. So I was like, maybe I should remind people, there's a lot of good movies out there. Um, so I'm going to do it. So today, a couple of them. I'm not big in action movies, so you're not going to get any real recommendations. I got a couple. They're both Steve McQueen. Who doesn't love some Steve McQueen, right? So the first one, and James Gardner's in this one too, and I love him. I love me some James Gardner. Is The Great Escape. Really, really good movie. So you might want to check that out. And then greatest car chase in a scene, I think, is Bullet. Bullet, really good. Can you see that? Yeah, Bullet, really good movie. So those are two I'd recommend for action movies. Now, dramas. So I got some dramas for you. This is an older movie from the 70s. Excuse me, 60s, middle 60s. Great movie. Actually, it was last movie that Spencer Tracy ever made, and it's the original Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, not the remake. And this is a really good movie, and it's Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. And he actually died 2 weeks before the movie came out. But there's a scene in this movie at the end where Spencer Tracy turns and looks at Katharine Hepburn and says something, and he said something to the point where, because he's talking to these two, he's like, if you love my daughter half as much as I love, whatever her name was in the movie, and he's talking, and I swear to God, it was Spencer Tracy talking to Katharine Hepburn. I cry every time I see that scene in the movie because, they were a great love affair. They were together, gosh, over 25 years they lived together because his wife would not give him a divorce because she was Catholic. But in those days, you could get away with stuff because there wasn't 24-hour news cycle, so no one really knew. So great movie. And Sidney Poitier's in it. So I'm telling you. Also, another hidden gem, which a lot of people don't know about, is Little Big Man with Dustin Hoffman. It's from the 70s. Really a good movie. It really, really is. Um, uh, Dustin Hoffman, really good actor. This is a good movie. Some people might be going, oh, I forgot about that movie, Little Big Man. I'm telling you, check that one out. Here's one of our favorites. It was kind of a hidden gem too. I don't like motorcycles. Sorry out there if you've got a motorcycle or you love them, good for you, cool. I don't like them. I don't even like following behind them. I don't like following next to them. They scare me. But this is a really good movie, and it's called The Indian, and well, no, Indian, and it's about the salt mines where they have people go out and they race for a weekend, and the Indian his motorcycle, and Anthony Hopkins is in it. This is a really good flick. I would check this out because I bet all the people listening today or listening whenever they listen to these things, I bet there's only one person, if that, have heard of this movie because it was kind of one of those, but really, I recommend this. You'll really enjoy it. Indian. And then, of course, oh, here's another one. A movie that actually was one of mine and Bill's particular favorites. It's called The Contender. It's with Joan Allen, and of course my honey pie, Jeff Bridges is in it, and it's a drama. But Jeff Bridges, he's the president in the movie, and he's kind of the comic relief because it's a pretty intense story. it's very there's a lot of drama, but he is the comic relief. And in what he does throughout the movie, he's the president, and he loves calling up on the telephone down to the kitchen and asking them for something. And he goes, they always have it. He goes, I'm going to get them one time. I'm going to order something. And they're going to be like, oh, sorry, Mr. President, we don't have that. So he's doing that all through the movie. Really, really good movie, Contender. It really is. I recommend that. Joan Allen, awesome in it. Good movie. And, he's a president, but it's not like, there's not politics in it. Well, there is, but there isn't. There's a really good underlying story about it. So I would check this one out too. Awesome. This is one of my Bill's favorites. One of the favorites we had. And then, last but not least, another good one, Road to Perdition. I mean, great movie. I love gangster movies, no matter what they are. I have seen probably every gangster movie, every documentary, you name it, I've seen them. I love gangster stuff, mob stuff, love it all. And Tom Hanks and Paul Newman. I mean, who don't want some Paul Newman? I don't care that he was in his 70s. He's Paul Newman, for crying out loud. Here's another great one. You know that. I'm sure most people have seen this, but just to remind you, you know what? Great movie. Okay, of course, there's only a few people out there that would want to know these, so most of you are going to ignore me, but musicals. I got to throw them in there because I'm a musical person. So one of my, I'm a Judy Garland expert, and I love her, and I've seen all her stuff. I've missed a couple movies, the early on movies, but I don't think I've missed any others. But this, next to A Star Is Born, this is my favorite movie, and this is more of my favorite movie than Star Is Born, but it's called Summer Stock, and she is awesome in it. Gene Kelly's awesome in it. It's just, and there's such good backstories to this. Real quick, when she started the movie, they told her she was fat. And she was like, what? And when she was doing the movie, and now if you were to watch it, which probably most of you won't, the beginning, you see in the beginning, I mean, she's a little heavier in the movie. She's average, right? Well, right after the movie was made, there was still one more number that had to be done, and it was called Get Happy. And she ended up going into rehab, and then she had collapsed right after this movie. She ended up going to rehab again and into a hospital. And so after rehab, she lost a lot of weight and this and that. So at the end, the very last number they do in this movie is called Get Happy. And you'll look at it, and if you really notice it, not everybody would, but I did because I knew the backstory. She's like skinny. And you're like, well, where was that Judy Garland in the movie? I mean, she's great in this movie, but you can tell the size, right? But the ending alone is worth it because it's a great song. It's called Get Happy. But this is my favorite Judy Garland movie, Summer Stock. And then I mentioned A Star Is Born. And the reason I brought this one up is because a lot of people saw the Renee Zellweger. I mean, that's the Judy movie. Lady Gaga movie of Star Is Born. There's been 4 remakes. There's one from the 30s, and it's not a musical. This one, which was the middle 50s. The Barbra Streisand version, which was in the late 70s, which is not good. And I love Barbra Streisand, but I don't think it's good. And then the last one. So this one is my second favorite Barbra Streisand or Judy Garland movie. Really a great movie. Really, really, really a great movie. Of course, I have to mention Sound of Music because I sang a song from it yesterday. And who doesn't love some Sound of Music? And a tidbit about that song, which I should have told you about, really interesting, is they were really in Austria, and they did do the outside scenes in Austria, and there's some really good stories about it because the weather did not cooperate, and they would sit out there for hours, she said, on the mountainside, trying to keep her warm and waiting for sun to come out, and it was raining all the time. Well, anyway, so they got the break and they went to the mountain, and you know how she's twirling around and singing? Well, there was a guy in a helicopter. This is how they filmed it. Guy in a helicopter. He was hanging out of the helicopter filming it. So when they scooped down, they went around once and got her, and then when they scooped around to get her again to take a more the wind from the helicopter kept knocking her over. She couldn't stay on her feet. It happened like 3 times, and then finally they got it. So, who doesn't love a sound of music, right? And then I'm going to bring in some Barbara Streisand. Funny Girl, great movie from the 60s. I mean, it's about Fanny Bryce. Great, great movie. Barbara played this on Broadway before she did the movie. And they weren't even going to, this is the funny part, is they weren't even going to cast her in the movie, even though she did the part on Broadway, because they didn't think she'd fill the theaters. Or were they wrong? Another great one. And last but not least, my personal favorite, Yentl. Love this movie. Um, it's just so romantic in so many ways. I just love it. And Bill liked it because he always got lucky when we watched this movie. He'd be like, "You want to watch Until tonight?" I love this movie. Okay, and then last but not least, we've got our comedies. Okay, so I've got an oldie, um, which is Yours, Mine, and Ours with Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda. Not the newer version, this one. Henry Fonda and Lucille Ball. Sure, they were older, but they were great in this movie. And the Lazy Susan scene when they're all sitting around the dining room table when she meets his children for the first time and they get her drunk, hilarious. One of the funniest things. I swear to God, I got to make sure I have an empty bladder when I watch that scene because I'm going to pee in my pants. It's so funny. Great movie. And make sure it's the Lucille Ball Henry Fonda one. Yours, Mine, and Ours. Tootsie, one of Bill's and mine favorite. We watched it so many times we could recite certain lines. Does Jeff know? Oh my God, there's just so many signs. And you know what? The thing is, I used to say to Bill, I like Dorothy Michaels, the character he plays, the lady. I loved her. I said I wanted Dorothy to be my friend. So here's a really, really funny movie. He is great as Dorothy, as the woman, when he gets dressed up, and there's some great scenes in it, really good. And Bill Murray's in it. He's funny too. He's his roommate, so that's a good one. One of our this is probably one of my favorites is Birdcage. I love it. Nathan Lane and Robin Williams great, but Nathan Lane is so freaking funny, and Hank Azaris is their butler, and he's hilarious in the movie. Hilarious. This is a really good movie. I know some people are like, oh, because of the gay aspect, they won't watch it. Well, then you're missing a really, really, really funny movie because this is hilarious. There's a scene where Nathan Lane's trying to act more like a macho guy because they were going to meet their son's fiance's parents, which is what's his name? Gene Hackman's in it too. Gene Hackman. So he's trying to act like a guy, and so he's walking, and he goes, and the guy's, yeah, Robin Williams says to Nathan Lane because they're partners in the movie, and he says, "Walk like John Wayne." So he does, and he goes, "Wow, I didn't realize John Wayne walked like that. You nailed it." It's just funny. I know I don't get it, but funny movie. Another great one where Tom Hanks is great in it. There's no crying in baseball. Everybody knows that line. Great. This is a very, very funny movie. Very good, funny. A lot of good people in it. Good story. Everything about it is good. So it's something, a league of their own. If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it a long time, it's another good one to watch. A League of Their Own. And then last but not least, Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. This is hilarious. From beginning to end, this is a funny movie. It's one of those ones that didn't make it in the theater, but when it went out on DVD, it's a cult movie. The one movie, Spinal Tap, I wanted to tell you about. That is, everybody loves Spinal Tap. I forgot to grab it out of there. And then there was a movie which I could not seem to find my copy of it. So I'm going to tell you, it's called My Favorite Year, and it was made in the 80s, and Peter O'Toole's in it. And then the one guy, I can't think of his name, but he was in this TV show. But anyways, it's Lynn something is his name, but he's in it. It's a really good movie. It's called My Favorite Year, and it's about back in the late 50s, the Show of Shows, and I got to be old to know this, the Show of Shows, and it's about the writers on the Show of Shows, because it's kind of a takeoff of the Show of Shows, and and it's all about the writers behind the scene. And Peter O'Toole is like a old older actor on the end of his career, and he appears on this variety show, and he's a slash bucker or whatever you call him, with when they would fight with the swords and they each other, whatever that is. That's the kind of movies he played in this role. Very funny movie. My favorite year with Peter O'Toole. If you have not seen it, I'll never forget it. The first time we had seen it, we had been watching it so many times. Me and Bill just love it. And the first time we were so excited. It was Christmas Eve, and it was the year, I believe, after Marilyn had passed away. So we weren't doing Christmas Eve at their house anymore. So things had changed at Marilyn's, Bill's mom. So we were home on Christmas Eve because we were going to be with my family on Christmas Day. So we made a special dinner, and then we said to Michael, he was early teens. We're going to show you this really good movie. So it was like, we were more excited than Michael. We're like, we can't wait, because he was old enough to get it and understand. So we were so excited to show him this movie, and he liked it. He did, but it was so funny. We're like, okay, we're going to sit down and watch this great movie. We were so funny. So that, I hope, helps you guys. And of course, you've got Netflix, but it's always fun to look up old movies, and I hope maybe some of these triggered something to you. Even if it's not something I showed you, you might be like, hey, I forgot I should watch that or that, because that there is a lot of good. And then TV shows, that there's a ton of them out there. I didn't even pull my TV shows out, so, but I hope that helps. And that's it. I'm not really up for anything else. I'll be back next week. Next week's one of the shows is going to have another musical number, and I'm going to have an interview with somebody very special to me, and we'll see what else happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed the movie previews. The DVDs gives you ideas, stuff to watch this weekend, because we ain't gotten anything else. Sports isn't back on yet, so. But yeah, if you watch one of these movies or you hadn't seen, like, some of the ones, I know a lot of you've seen some, but some of the oddball ones I told you about, like the Indian, the Contender, My Favorite Year. If you end up watching those, put them in the comments so I can see it. No, I think everybody's afraid to make comments. I don't get it, but so that's it. So I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Everybody stay healthy. Stay safe, wash your hands. I don't have to tell you. You already know all that stuff. And you know what? Today's a good day for me. I got up, well, I couldn't sleep last night, so I woke up at 5 a.m. when I fed the cat, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I've been up since then. And I exercised and this and that, got a lot of things done. And ran to the store, came back. So now I'm just chilling. But we're all having good and bad days. I have good ones, and then I don't have good ones, and that's the thing. Again, if you know somebody who's living on their own, if they're elderly or if they're young and they're single, doesn't matter. Reach out to them, text them. Hey, how you doing? Checking on you, making sure you're okay. It's tough being by yourself, but it's really tough being by yourself when this is going on, because you have nobody to say, stop thinking that way. It's not going to happen, blah, 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 So people have been checking on me a lot. I'm really grateful for that. I love you all. I love my family. I'm blessed. There's no doubt about it. I just talked to my one brother from Hawaii yesterday. We talked 45 minutes on the phone. We don't do that, but we did, and it was really, really nice. We had a great conversation. So, Dale, if you're watching this, shout out to you, but I'm sure you're not. So, again, everybody, just one day at a time, because that's all we can do, right? And just be safe and smart. Wash your hands, and don't touch your face if you're out and about. It's one of the hardest things I have to keep saying to myself. Don't touch your face. Very bad habit of doing that. So that's it. I want you to keep on rocking and rolling. Have a great weekend, and be back on Monday for the next Vegas baby show starring, hey, Malin. You got it. Have a great weekend and stay healthy.